here we are. It's 2024. We're a few days in, and I just want to reprise my best wishes. I hope everyone has a great year. For me, despite a few ongoing challenges, 2023 was overall a very good one. In particular, this channel did relatively well. Again, I have you guys to thank for that. But I just want to communicate a bit more about what I want to accomplish here in 2024. And, I guess, what I don't want to do. YouTube can be a very challenging arena to work in, not just because it isn't a fast track to fame and fortune, but geez, I've been at it for more than 8 years now. I uploaded my first video to this channel on December the 22nd, 2015. Now, admittedly, I didn't exactly dedicate myself to growing the channel until somewhere around 2018. Now, I know some of you are familiar with this history, but for newcomers, welcome aboard, and I hope you enjoy what I have planned for this year. Technically speaking, this channel has existed for almost 10 years when Google created a channel for everyone with an account. My first channel, now languishing, I started in 2010. But making good YouTube videos isn't the same as still photography. In this world we live in, this electric forum of ideas and needs competing for our attention, and this is one. It's quite different to the imaging business I threw my lot in with back in the 80s. And I'll get into that a bit more later. There's the sheer volume of imagery we're bombarded with every day. I forget what photographer said it decades ago, but you're only as good as your last shoot. And I think that still rings true. Except, is it your last Instagram post that decides your fate? Speaking of Instagram, which I've neglected for a few years now, I used to post something every day. Please do follow. I'll try to be more consistent this year. I'd also like to do a wee bit of self-promotion here, generally, if you'll indulge me. After all, without some kind of profile, I would never have made anything of my photography addiction 4 decades ago. But in those days, you had to hit the streets with your portfolio, send letters, typed on letterhead, slipped into envelopes and posted. And that's when posted meant mailed. Make cold calls, meet with editors, art directors, and studio managers. That was hard work. And it took you away from making photos. I guess there's parallels today. And more often than not, all the pavement pounding resulted in nothing. Having said that, my modest portfolio when I moved from Vancouver to the center of the universe, well, Canada's fashion and advertising capital, Toronto, I was never turned down once. I put in my time as an assistant there for a while, which was a bit of a come down after running my own small studio in Vancouver for several years. But by humbling myself, and I can tell you, some of what I had to put up with was humiliating. But I got to work alongside some of the most talented guys in the industry. Masters of lighting, innovators, and solid producers of what we now call content. Those guys didn't walk around with attitudes. They were pros. And in that environment, you don't put on airs, even if you are the celebrity photographer or top model. The industry, it is an industry, ran on reality. The reality that the client doesn't care about your image. They care about their image and whether your images, your photos, sell their widget or bra. And it doesn't hurt to crack a joke or two to break the tension. But back to the future. As I said, 2023, particularly the last couple of months, saw some of the best results from my labors here and outside, some of which I incorporated into videos. And those results were in no small part due to posting more videos and generally busting my ass. YouTube kindly told me so in messages to my channel dashboard. At one point in December, views were up by 80%. Again, thank you for responding to my work. And thanks so much for all the kind words of encouragement. They were in the majority. I did mention briefly in my New Year's video, not all respondents are so kind, but they are, after all is said and done, a tiny minority, and they don't usually ruin my day. I realize I'm not everyone's cup of tea. And the same can be said outside of this electronic facsimile of life too. But one has to wonder, who are these malcontents who thumb down a perfectly ordinary, non-controversial video? But I don't want to dwell on the negative. There are far more real problems in the real world, and YouTube harbors some pretty strange characters. They aren't exactly my cup of tea. But que sera, I guess it takes all kinds. I want 2024 to be a year of creativity. I want it to be the year, this will be my 72nd, that I do my best work. Well, maybe not my best, I'll save that for years to come, but the best I've done so far. And I want to, as I said recently, bring a bit of beauty into this often ugly world. Harmony. Is that a hippy-dippy word? No, I don't think it is. It's a beautiful word, like grace. Goodness knows I have within me enough discord if I examine my unresolved struggles. And I do try to examine those neuroses before I project them onto other people in my sphere. Photography is my sort of mirror. It often shows me before I consciously recognize where I'm going or where I want to go. Does that resonate with you? But yeah, 7 decades on this planet. I'm still here for photography. I really love making photos and videos. And that means I like to talk tech sometimes. Not endlessly, so that's where I guess these occasional vlogs or fireside chats, as I call them, come in. As a sort of antidote to techno-dweebery, and they get very little notice, which is fine. I recognize they're just ramblings that don't serve much purpose, except perhaps to get something off my chest. Let me know in the comments if you find any value in them. But I do want to stress that I don't take this platform for granted, and I recognize that it's sure, I've worked hard to attract attention to my work online, which reminds me my website needs updating, just like I did walking the streets with my hard copy portfolio. And I'm acutely aware that this opportunity is mine to squander or to build on and to treat with respect and gratitude. I think I made a video on the subject of gratitude a while back. And still, I try to remind myself every day to appreciate the small mercies. I'd really like to talk more and hear from you. What inspires you? What do you want to learn about photography? What are the areas you think that you could develop more? After a time when I'd actually considered retiring altogether, I find myself more inspired lately. And it has to be said, now I'm constrained more by physical limitations than the fire in my belly, which is considerable. So the other thing I'm going to push into is just getting out more with specific ideas, even on the street where serendipity is in play, and even on planned shoots like the ones illustrated in my last lens review about the Z85mm f1.2 lens. You never know how things will go exactly, and it's a little bit, sometimes a lot of tension. Those are such an important part of what makes photography such a challenge, but in the end, such a joy for me. And as a bit of a control freak in other areas, being in the moment with a camera, open to chance, that's the best. As I intimated in my New Year's video, I've got a string of reviews on my desk. Next up is a look at some new tube lights. And to be honest, this is an excuse to take a break from creating all the B-roll on my list. And incidentally, not much B-roll to speak of in this video. This is shot with a single Nikon Z8 in 8K using the Z85mm f1.2 lens, wide open. So any change in framing is accomplished in post-production. Back to the studio. I hope this intermission was worth your time watching and listening to. If it was, please do give it the old thumbs up, and please do add your thoughts to the comments. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. In the meantime, take care, cheers, and we'll see you later.